Hello and welcome to the Lorna Marie Fitness Podcast, the show where we talk all things fitness, health, mindset and lifestyle to help you become fitter, healthier and happier. I help busy people who lack time, motivation and self-belief to look and feel great again. If you want to work with me, head over to lornamariefitness.co.uk, but for now, enjoy this episode. Now, I just want to welcome the amazing Suze to the Meet the Members or Meet the Squaddies podcast series. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me, Suze.
That's okay.
Now, I'd love to start off just by maybe if you could tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do, your current situation, whatever you want to share.
Okie doke. I'm married, been married for 40 plus years, have two sons who are also married, and I now have 6 grandchildren, 4 girls and 2 boys, aging from the range of 13 actually down to 2.5 months. So as you can imagine, they keep me rather busy, and also I have to be very fit to run around after them. I work part-time in an office in my local town of Melton Mowbray, and I just work there 3 days a week. So yes, I do hobbies. I sort of do crocheting and knitting and that sort of stuff, cross stitch at the minute, and lots of reading. What is it
that you do for work, Suze?
What do I do for work? I'm actually an admin in an accountancy firm. So we are in our quiet period at the minute, but as you can imagine, January with all the self-assessment tax returns, it was chaotic. Yeah. And could I just say, an accountancy is for life, not just for January.
I love that. I love your hobbies as well. You say crocheting?
Yes, crochet, blankets, all sorts, clothes, all sorts. Yeah. And knitting that my mum got me into, and then cross stitch as well. I like all crafts, and trouble is I dabble in too many types of crafts, but it just keeps me busy. So
definitely, you're definitely someone who likes to keep busy. Obviously, with all the grandkids, keeping super fit, and then keeping your hands really busy with all your crafts as well. That's that's really great.
Yeah, grandchildren certainly keep you fit, especially when you're in soft play areas.
Oh yes, definitely. Yes. I can't believe you've got 6 grandkids as well. You don't look old enough to have one.
What do you think? No, 6. Yeah.
6.
6. Wow. The last one was born in December while I was away in Australia. But yeah, 6.
Oh, lovely. So lovely. Now, I would love to go back in time a little bit now. And if you could tell us where your journey with fitness started, or maybe the relationship that you have with fitness, if you go way back to where
way back when, to the olden times. School, I have to say, I hated PE, hated it with a passion. Didn't like, the hockey on the cold winter days. Certainly didn't like running. I would say I wouldn't be able to run around the athletics track. I can't say I ever did it. Cross country was a nightmare. And this is the days when, though I was at a mixed school, we had a girls' playground and a boys' playground, so we never were allowed to mix together. So yeah, sport, any type of fitness wasn't for me. I think when as I had children and then they went to school, I started to go to a step class in the mornings for something to do, and I used to go with a friend for a 10-mile bike ride once a week. It sort of half killed me, but you never know. This is coming when I married my husband and my children, who are very sporty, very competitive, very sporty. I mean, my husband's always played football. He was an athletics champion, you name it, he's done it. Oh. And my boys were always into football, and I was the one that was in the background. I'd watch them, but that was it. So that's sort of how I started. And then I can't remember, at one point my husband used to get his fitness machine out. I bought him one of these striding fitness machines out. So on a night at 7 o'clock, he would get on that, and I started doing the Gillian Michaels 30-day shred.
Oh
yeah. She was big in it, wasn't it? After watching the America's Biggest Loser, so you do the Gillian Michaels 30-day shred that I did constantly, but I can't say it shredded me like I thought it should have done. And I'd often be swearing and cursing at the telly. And Actually, I did mention, forgot to mention something. When I was 18, I couldn't walk 100 meters without being in agony. And they threatened to remove both my kneecaps at that point because
Oh.
they said I had diseased cartilage behind my kneecap. So I was always conscious of my knees. My excuse was I've got bad knees. So I did the Gillian Michaels, had to be careful of the jumping because sometimes that hurt. But I managed to do that. I think I progressed from the 30-day level 1 to 2 to 3, and it would go up and down.
So how did you get from the point of, not being able to walk very far at all to then being able to do workouts? What was that period like? How did you?
It didn't last, from what I can remember. I was 18. It didn't last too long. I couldn't say I couldn't walk. I couldn't go up a flight of stairs. My knees, if I bent them, sound like gunshot because they would crack, and they still do occasionally. But I think it was more a keeping mobile. I know they put me on some heat treatment, and I used to have to go. I used to live on an RAF station, and I have to go to another one, and they'd wrap my coils around my knees and heat treat it. So that was about the only treatment I got, apart from them threatening to remove both my kneecaps. But luckily, they didn't do. And I knew what aggravated them walking upstairs. And gradually, I suppose it sort of healed, but it was always there in the background. And it was always a good excuse. My bad knees, I can't walk up that tower at Warwick Castle because I've got bad knees.
I mean, it was a valid excuse to be fair, but I know what you mean. You kind of lean into
Yeah.
it a little bit more than maybe you should have.
Yeah. I know I still have to be careful of my knees. I do tend, I think I might have said to you that I've had knee problems, but I don't tend to dwell on it because I can do most things.
Yeah.
Unless sometimes I aggravate them and then I have to just pull back a bit. But from Gillian Michaels, I did that for years. Oh, 20 plus years ago, somebody at work where I used to work as a civil servant for the tax office. Used to go to a yoga. So I said, oh, I quite fancy that. So I started going to yoga, and it's not the, not yet. People think of yoga, don't they, where you just sit there and and ah and don't do anything. But this was power yoga. So he was a male instructor, and he certainly worked as hard. But I loved it, and I used to go sometimes 3 times a week to that as well. And I've consistently done my yoga since then. Maybe not as much as I should do, and I do think I should probably be more bendier than I am, but there you go. But I do like, yeah, my power yoga. Then I hit my 50s, and that was a big turning point for me. I hit my 50s and I become menopausal. And I can remember now the day I say I really noticed it, and I wanted to watch the opening ceremony of the London Olympics. Was waiting all day to sit down and watch the opening ceremony of the London Olympics. And it came on, I think my husband fell asleep, and I started watching it, and then all of a sudden I just didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know whether I wanted to stand up, sit down, go to the bathroom, sit there, throw up. I just did not know what I wanted to do with myself. And I would say that was the first time that I would say I had an anxiety attack. I don't know what brought it on. It just suddenly come on. So I didn't really get to see it as much as I wanted to, because I spent half the time walking out the room, coming back in the room, walking back out, and that was it. And I went through a phase of having anxiety attacks. So I remember walking to work one day, and I got halfway to work and I could have turned around to walk home, but I forced myself to go to work. My husband would come home and he would ask how I felt, and I'd just be crying. And he'd go, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then we'd go for a walk at night, and he'd open the back door and I'd walk away from it. And it was always like at 10 o'clock at night when nobody could see me walking down the street crying. And I think then fitness became more important to me. I can remember looking at food and thinking, I can't eat that because if I eat that, it's going to kill me. And it sounds so bizarre saying it, but at the time it is so real. So yeah, being menopausal, you just don't know what's going to happen. I was always open at work with the ladies at work, how I was feeling, and because there's quite a lot of younger ones. So when the time came that they maybe knew what would happen, because nobody really told me. My mum had died quite young, so nobody told me what exactly was going to happen to me. And the doctor was just basically suck it up and get on with it. So I just, yeah, battled my way through it. So I say exercise became quite important then, keeping fit. 'Cause I thought, well, I've got to keep fit. And on holiday, for somebody who has never ran, we go on holiday to a lovely place in Mallorca. And I suddenly decided to do the couch to 5K. And I didn't tell my husband I was going to do it. So he goes for his morning run at 6:30, sun rising down the front. And I think he's on his way back and he sees this person heading towards him. That actually I thought I was dying. You know, you run a minute, well, a minute literally creased me up, and walked 3 minutes. And I did it then so nobody that I knew would see me. So if I was a mess, nobody knew me. I could do it. So I did that on holiday and I carried on doing it when I got home. Built it up that I could run 5K. Yeah, I was never that fast, but to me, I was doing it. I was going out and doing it. And I kept running for quite a while, going out, and gradually I built my distance up. I think the most I think I got to was about 10K. But just going at my pace, doing it when I wanted and when I wanted. I got used to going out at 6:15 in the dark. That was a big step for me as well. Actually going out, because my husband, he would go out at 6 o'clock to work, so that meant he disturbed me, so I would get up, go for a run before I went to work. And I did that for quite a few years, really. And I think the stop was I had developed cataracts in my eyes. And I was running through the park one day, and if I hadn't have shielded my eyes, I would have ran straight into a hedge because I just couldn't see it through the sun glare. So I had my cataracts done in both eyes, and then, of course, I couldn't do any exercise. So the running stopped. It was then winter time. So when I could get back to it, it was like that demon in your head. It's winter. I'm not going out. It's dark. I'm not going out. I can't do it. Everything. So I sort of stopped running at that point, which was a shame, really, because I did quite enjoy it. Sort of, she says. And COVID hit, and I then, what did I do then? I discovered Les Mills. So I joined Les Mills, which I liked, but that's very impersonal. It's obviously very staged because I know they practice their routines, but I was doing the combat, the body pump and all sorts from there. And again, that lasted its course. In between this, I'm still doing my yoga when I can. That lasted its course. And I think I was still doing it, but then I got fed up. And then last year at work, we were offered, this person suddenly appeared that we've got a free corporate trial by somebody called Lorna Marie Fitness. And it's like, well, it's free. I may as well log on and see what's happening, which I did, I think, on day one. And I've never looked back since. I thought it was amazing. What you offered was incredible, the choice. And we had it for a month at that point. And I was soon onto you saying, right, what can I do to join? And I think you gave me the option that because I'd done the trial, I could just slip straight in, or I could go through the 6 weeks foundation course, which I decided to do because I thought I'll do it properly. And yeah, never looked back since.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, Suze. There's a lot to unpick there. And I just want to say thank you for opening up about your menopausal journey too, because I think it is something that people are talking about more, but
yeah,
it has been a taboo for so long and it really shouldn't be. And that is one thing that I'm trying to change as well. Just getting people talking about their experiences so that everyone understands that what you're experiencing is normal. You are normal and there is an end to this, and there are things that you can do as well. And it doesn't have to be this hard. So thank you for sharing that. That was really.
I always like to share it or tell people, because some don't know, some won't, and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen or how you're thinking. And at some of the times, some of the thoughts I had were so rational, or I thought they were, but I knew that they were also irrational. I think I went to the doctors with a pain in my side, and I says, I know when I'm thinking logically, I've pulled a muscle, but when I'm not, I've got an alien in there. And she just went, yeah, you're fine. And it stopped. You know, the panic attacks, I think I remember sitting in the theatre at Nottingham many times, just counting to 10 because I could feel it, being overwhelmed and feeling panicky.
Yeah.
And I just learned all the techniques myself, which I'm glad people now are actually being listened to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And you're so right. You don't know how it's going to hit. Like, some people will go through the perimenopausal journey, reach menopause, and actually not really notice. And for some people, it will actually be an extremely dark place where you do need support, and you do need to reach out and find ways to manage the symptoms and alleviate some of that, in some cases, some of that trauma as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really, really brave of you and very open. Thank you. And yeah, gosh, you've been on such a journey, and I also want to say well done for taking those steps. You know, when you said, you know what, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna sign up to Couch to 5K, do it at my pace, I'm gonna run a little bit, walk for most of it at the start. That's okay, because it is about taking those small steps and build it up from there, something that you can keep going with consistently. And I'm glad you found us, Suze.
I'm so glad I found you. Can I just say that I think it must be about a year ago that I actually discovered you. And I think a good way for any new people that want to be involved, that become a member, is get stuck into the chat, just talk, because you get more involved and it just helps, I think, when you talk to people. And I remember the very first time I met you was running the London Marathon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we'd gone down to meet my son, watch my son, because he was running for charity. So I was tracking him and tracking you, and I think you were about a mile behind him. So once he'd gone past, it was like, no, I've got to see Lorna. And I was like petrified I was going to miss you. And it's like, no, this is the number. And I had my two grandsons looking, my daughter-in-law looking, my husband all looking out for you. But when we saw you running towards us, it was like I'd known you forever. It was like really, it was just like really weird. All these lunatics shouting on the side of the road in London.
Well, I felt like that as well. I remember coming over, giving you a big hug. I was
Yeah.
like, "Yes, hi." It does feel like that though, doesn't it? You know, even though you're online, we're such a close-knit family, supportive feel, that I feel like everyone just gets to know each other. And that's the difference, I guess, with us and something like Les Mills, where it is just very, yeah, the workout quality is good, but it's just empty. It's like an empty shell. There's nothing behind it. There's no person behind it.
No.
Personability. No, what's the word?
Yeah, no.
What? Personable.
I know. Yeah.
There's no man behind it.
You see afterwards how they practice it and get the routine absolutely perfect. And obviously they've got like hundreds of people in front of them. And there's no interaction, and it's really weird, because though you can still be on the screen, there's interaction because you're talking about normal day things as you're doing it, whereas they're not. They're just into doing it, and that's it. And it just becomes normal because you feel like you are talking to us as we are doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it is true that everyone's there doing the workouts, whether you're live or on demand, and then everyone goes and chats about it in the Facebook group. And we meet up at the socials, and then we do our little challenges, like our step challenges and our class challenges. And it's a lot easier to stay motivated, I think, and just get inspiration from other people. Like, not that Les Mills aren't real people, of course.
No, yeah,
people,
no.
But it's different.
Yeah, you're never really going to meet them or see them or do anything. Whereas I've been to a few of your socials. Again, I took the plunge, right, I'll go on my own, I'll do it. But again, it was great fun. It was a great evening. And I would encourage anybody to do that. The walk, was it a couple of weeks ago now? No, it's just, I can't remember. It seems ages ago. But that's great because you're talking with different people. And I think it was Helen who had just started her journey.
Yeah.
And she was on about how she found struggle to do this. And I think even just doing the twists. And I just says, well, just just do what you can. And then do that for a few days. And then gradually you'll notice you'll do it a bit more. And then you'll gradually do it a bit more until you feel like you're getting somewhere. And it's just great to talk to other people because we are all in the same boat. Most everybody. We're all in the same boat, all trying to do our best for ourselves.
Yeah, we are. We're all getting fitter together, whatever that looks like, whatever level you're at. And I think as well, I wish you'd have known about us before, you know, when you were doing your Couch to 5K and running at times and in places where you thought no one would know you. So that's why you're doing it there. Because online, you're in the comfort of your own home. If you don't want your camera on, you don't have to have it on. And you never have to feel self-conscious about anything or judged.
No,
So
it's lovely. I mean, I've written some things down about it, putting that it's friendly, it's flexible. You can do it when you want to do it, and you can fit it in with your routine. I walk home from work and I tend to do it straight away for me at 4:30 because that's the best time. Because I know once I've sat down, it's hard then for me to get up. So I do it then, or on my days off, I'll do it as soon as I get up and try and get on the lives when I can. So it's great that it fits in when you want to fit it in, and there's just so much scope. It's crazy that, you know, some days, oh, I want to do this. No, I don't feel like doing that. But I find I do have to be careful I don't keep going to my comfort ones because sometimes you always have a tendency, no, I like that because that's comfortable. No, I've got to do booty band because my bum's burning and it's like Lorna's running around like a duck really easy, and I'm running round waddling around my living room, normally cursing you under my breath.
That's all right. You swear at me all you like. I can take it. I love it.
Or it's the occasion you're doing something and it's like, Lorna, you're half my age. No, I can't do that. But it's just great fun.
Hey, age is but a number.
Well, yeah.
So have you got any specific goals that you're working towards at the moment, or anything coming up that you're excited about this year? Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. My main goal is that I've had a couple of months where I've had a niggling injuries. One, believe it or not, due to the way I sleep, which I've now sorted. So my main goal actually is, funnily enough, for October, when we're going on the yoga retreat to Amorgos, to get my fitness back up and really enjoy myself. I can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing.
It is going to be amazing. I'm really pleased you come in. Lovely. It's like Catherine described it as heaven. She says, it's my heaven. I'm going back to my heaven because she came last year.
I know. I think when I saw you was going on a retreat last year, I went, what, a retreat? How did I miss that? But I think that had come just before I joined. And it was like, no, I won't go this year. But once in a life, I've always fancied doing sort of a yoga retreat, something like that. So it's like in a once in a lifetime dream, I think. So it just looks like a set out of ABBA. Can't wait.
Oh, it is. It really is. We'll have to do an ABBA workout while we're out there. Oh, thank you so much, Suze. Now, final question before you go. If you had one tip, it could be a quote or a tip or anything health and fitness related that you think would be useful for somebody who's struggling or feels stuck, what would that be? How would you get unstuck?
How would you get unstuck?
Your top tip.
I could probably ramble on for ages, but I think if you're online looking and you see Lorna's face pop up or whatever, and you keep thinking about it, don't think about it, just do it. Just do it. Take that first tiny step, even if on your first workout you only do a few minutes, because gradually over time it builds up. Don't worry that you look stupid. Say nobody can see you. You're in your own home. So I would say just do it.
That's great advice. The amount of people who wait for the quote unquote right time. And there just never really is a right time. You just end up pushing it back and pushing it back when in actual fact you could be making great progress.
Yeah, that's it. It's just making that decision and doing it and giving it a go.
Yeah.
What have you got to lose by giving it a go? So yeah, just do it. And the beauty with you is we can take you anywhere in the world that we want to.
We can, even to Australia, hey?
Even to Australia, yeah. I think I've taken you to Belgium, to Spain. So yeah, there's nothing to stop you. The only thing that's stopping you is you in your mind. And doing something is better than not doing anything.
Yeah, 100%. Always, always. I feel like saying mic drop, mic drop. So amazing. Thank you again so much for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed our chat.
It's not as bad as I thought. So if anybody wants to do this, again, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.